Good afternoon, or good morning, or good evening, whatever time of day you are watching this. My name is Tyler Key, and I will be narrating my project that I did along with Chantin Jour, and this is our album release party. So throughout the video, should be around 15 to 20 minutes, you will see a number of different things. Not only will you be seeing glimpses of our paper that we've done, glimpses of the PowerPoints and our multiple other things that we've done, but you will also see clips and things like that from different concerts and different album release parties and things of that nature. The reason why I want to include that element is so you can actually feel what it's like to be at one of these events in the hip hop industry, whether it's a concert or whether it's an album listening party. Those are all tied together. And me and Chan discussed it, and we was like, hey, we feel like that'll be a very different twist on a normal project, just having, visuals of what it would be like if this was an actual real event. So right now, let's get started. You should be looking at a clip of our paper, so hope you enjoy. So there were 7 different steps in this project. So what I want to do now is focus on part one, which is the event vision, the brainstorming and the mind mapping, and the SWOT analysis. So originally, our vision for the event was to have a music listening party for artists. So we came up and created an artist called Sav Ghost, and basically the backstory behind Sav Ghost is he's an up and coming rapper in Atlanta who put out a song earlier this year that tore the Billboard charts and went number one immediately, which is a huge deal in music to be number one on the Billboard charts. And with that, he started to develop a fan base. And so, since he developed this fan base, he's been in the studio working constantly, working on his first project. Because what's really big in music is a debut project. That's what a lot of people judge you by. There's a lot of artists who put out amazing bodies of work on their first go around. So that's our vision for the event, was to have a not a super huge event, but a medium sized event for up and coming artists that who we feel like can be a superstar. So that's the background behind the artist and the background behind why we want to create this type of event. Plus, we're both very interested in hip hop music, so we was like, yo, we feel like this is just be an amazing idea to try to create some of this magnitude. So when it came to the brainstorming and the mind mapping part, that part really wasn't that difficult, just because of the vision that we had for the event, and we kind of just followed it with the brainstorm. So we want to do an artist, so we came up with the artist. We want to have it at a certain place, so we had to think of a place where in a space where we could have the event where other artists have had previous album listening parties. So the venue is familiar to how this type of event should run, and they maybe even have some contacts for us to reach out to and hire them. Familiarity and things like that. So the brainstorming and the mind mapping part wasn't a problem. And when it came to the SWOT analysis, which is our strengths, weakness, opportunity, and threats, we really didn't even have an issue with this, just because of my background with marketing. So our strength is the known strengths would be the nightclub will have high traffic and a strong funding from the label which the artist is signed to. The album is great and the fans will love it, just because we just think it'll be great, right? The event will be at the nightclub, so the audio and the technicians will have no problems with operations and executions. For the internal and the external, we really didn't see that there would be like really any struggle, except probably we would need higher level of security for the label and certain celebrity guests, the cleanup and damage protection when it came to the club. For potential opportunities, we have social media exposures, and plus a lot of celebrity guests will be attending. The potential threats could be the club may get too populated, the crowd could get too wild, people in the crowd may start fighting, or if the artist, like, let's say, feels ill and doesn't show up, it could be a riot, which we touch on a little bit later when we discuss our risk management. And then also, it's Atlanta. It's the South. You never know what the weather is going to bring. One day it could be cold, the next day it could be raining. So, all that we talk about a little bit later, but there's our part one. Part two of our album release party mainly focused on the planning and how exactly we will get everything done. So, me and Chan talked and we decided it was probably a good idea to start planning at least 6 months in advance to make sure that all the kinks or anything like that are worked out, which I feel like is very important when it comes to any event. You always want to plan early and never wait till the last moment because you never know the type of things that could happen. For example, like if you planned it, let's say you wanted to have an event in September somewhere in Myrtle Beach, and then all of a sudden a hurricane hits. So you always want to plan ahead because you never know the type of things that may come up. So when it comes to that, like I said, we want to plan 6 to 12 months in advance. And the things that we really want to do, we want to set a date for the party. We want to book a DJ. We want to ensure that all the proper paperwork, all the proper everybody has the proper permits when it comes to like people like security, liquor license, parking license, all these different things. Review the plans with the artist and label to make sure they're cool with everything. Promote the event very heavy on social media, and we'll probably do a social media marketing probably like a month, 2 months in advance, just because we don't want to spoil the release date of the album. We want to contact the venue and reserve the space. Obviously, check on the process of the album to see if more time is needed to make sure we didn't need to reschedule. Because that's a big thing with music. You always want to give the artist the right amount of time to work on their material, to work on their art, to make sure it's ready for the public consumption. You never want to rush anybody on anything like that. And with music is an iffy thing. Things like writer's block and things, clearances, sampling, things like that. Always come into play when we're discussing music. We wanted to select the merchandise for a venue, create a specific budget for the release party, and see exactly how much the label is willing to kit to us for it, and how much of our own money we would have to put up for this. We want to hire an event team, contact a photographer, a videographer, create a rough guest list. Not exactly everyone who will be there, but the people we think may show up. Secure press for the event, and order food, and definitely hire a security team and come up with visuals and a theme for the party. And we want to do all that around like 5 to 6 months to a year. Well, not necessarily a year, but like 5 to 6 months ahead of time before the actual event. And then around a month or two, we wanted to add the guest list, send out the press release, plan out the decor. The decor, rehearse the event plans, inspect the venue, make sure the light, the sounds, and potential safety hazards, make sure all that's taken care of. Most importantly, finalize the album and connect back up with the label to make sure everything is still a go. Because, like I said, you never want when you're planning an event of this magnitude, you never really want anything to go wrong. So, which is why a month or two ahead, you always want to reach back, and be like, hey, is everything still a go? Are we still good with everything? And then other little things such as send out flyers and invitations. On the music side, release a single or a few songs from the album to start building that buzz back up, because like I said, this summer he already has smash hits. So right now we still want to make sure we build off of that buzz. We want to order the merchandise and provide event bots and things of that nature. And when it comes to like around the first and second week, we want to finish the rehearsal, give the DJ a playlist, order the food, make sure that all our lights and things like that have came in. And this is the time where we really want to start targeting like social media and making sure everything on the social media end is up to par. Finalize the merchandise and prepare the VIP and list and things like that. Contact security, the artist, the label, and the press. So right there is basically our part two and everything that we want to do leading up to the event. So starting like 6 months all the way up into a week of the event. So when it comes to the day of the actual event, we actually have an itinerary planned out starting at 7 p.m. So starting at 7, we want to head to the venue, which is ironically called the venue, and open and prepare. 8 o'clock, that's when we anticipate the guests will start coming in. And we want to give an hour for the guests to start coming in. So while the guests are coming into the building, going to get their drinks, getting their food, walking around, networking, mingling, everything, we're going to have music playing. That's created by me and Chantin. And then around 9, that's when our DJ shows up and really starts getting the party going. And then an hour later, the artist is expected to arrive. And then around 11 o'clock, he meets and greets the VIP fans, which in a minute you will be able to see the stage, like exactly how we have the event set up. Around midnight is when he will release and perform the album. Around 1 o'clock, that's when we really wanna. That's we feel like is our peak time to start selling the merchandise that we have laid out for the event. And around 2 a.m. is when we're gonna clean up all the way up until 4 because you never know the messes that people can make, especially when there's free drinks and things of that nature. So the next part that we want to discuss is part 3 and 4, and as I just said, how exactly part 3 is basically how we plan to set up the venue. So with that cool online tool that you gave us, I was able to design exactly how I feel like it'll be possible to set up the event. So you have, because like I said, the event will be held at the venue, aka center stage is the actual name for it, but people just call it the venue. So you have a big dance floor, and then we have a bunch of tables lining the side. So we have around 7, 8 tables lining the side, and then we have a buffet. Then next to the buffet, we have the bar. We have actually four, like 5, 6 bar areas around the actual event. So while the people are sitting down, they can walk to either, the different bars that we have located, and we have a wall so it's roped off so the VIPs can only get drinks, in the VIP section. And if you're not a VIP member, you just stay on the regular dance floor. You can still see the stage and you can still see everything. We have 2 exits in the back. One where normally people will come in, and then one obviously where people will leave, and then near the VIP section near the stage we also have another exit. So the way we have it set up, I feel like is really cool because we separate the VIP from the regular guest, and the VIP also sit right next to the stage, so they can actually have that experience of maybe touching the artist's foot as he's walking across, or something to that nature. And then the people who are non VIP, they can have fun as well because they have the dance floor right there, so they can go dance, get food, walk around, and mingle. So that's pretty much what part 3 is about, is just about how we set up the venue. Part 4 came to our budget. We totaled everything out to around $15,000, which I feel like is pretty good. We have some money come from the label. The majority of our money is going towards the venue and the DJ. We're paying like around $400 for security, $600 for catering, and things of that nature. So when it comes to part 5, it was just basically about what do we need from the venue. So obviously we needed a DJ. So we reached out to a DJ company. We needed a camera crew, lighting, and all things of that nature. Security, we went with Ram Security, a security agency from California who are licensed to carry guns, and like Atlanta out there permits goes nationwide, not just statewide, which we thought was pretty cool. Bartenders, we went with Bar Magic, which is located in Atlanta. We felt like that's a great bar company to partner ourselves with. And for the merchandise, we went with KC Printing and Promotions. Being honest here, when it came to part 6 for the press release, that was probably like my favorite thing to try to go and make. So we said Tyler and Chant Promotions will hold an album release party for Sav Ghost, the up and coming Atlanta artist, who's made a strong name for itself. The event will be held at Center Stage, aka the venue, in Atlanta, Georgia. The party is just to show how many people support the local superstar. So I felt like it was very fun to actually sit down and write a press release. It made me feel like I was really, in my career or my field of work at that time. I really enjoyed that whole part. We included a website for where you can go and buy tickets and information about how you can who you can contact about the event, and then for more information about future events, you can follow that same link to that website. And then also on part six, we had to make a flyer. So I just said mixtape release party, Sav Go, Center Stage, Atlanta, Georgia, 421, 8 p.m. to 2 a.m. Now, if you take a look at our risk management for our album release party, you can see our intro screen for the risk management for the album release party. We go to the next slide. You will see the protocol. And the protocol says the staff and volunteers must check in with the management upon arrival. No concealed weapons permitted unless you are with security. So no entrance without tickets and staff tags. Everyone must have ID and go through a proper security check, which includes a pat down, walking through a metal detector, just to make sure we don't have any events that will make us headline news, that will make us on the 11 o'clock news, basically. When it comes to safety concerns, we have no underage drinking, obviously no concealed weapons, no outside food and beverages. The reasons for this is just for the outside food and beverages part is just because we want to increase our profit, our margin of profit, as you've seen in the previous slides about the cost for our foods and things like that. So no outside food or drinks, no on stage, backstage, in the kitchen, or in VIP unless giving authorization. Now this goes for the concert goers and the security. So unless you are designated to be in those areas, please don't be in those areas or you will be removed from the venue. When it comes to on site emergency tools and services, we have level 2 security. And what level 2 security includes are handcuffs, mace, tasers, and firearms. So, all these security guards, which we hired from Ram Security, they are all licensed to have their concealed carry license for their firearm, just in case hopefully, any negative events occur. We have security there on site to handle that, and we also have a land police department patrolling the area just to make sure nothing crazy jumps off. We also have first aid kits just in case someone falls, gets cut, something like that. Fire extinguisher just in case something happens in the kitchen, maybe a small grease fire or something to that nature breaks out. We have bags of sand. And we also, include bags of sand just in case of a toxic or chemical spill. You never know. It's Atlanta. It's crazy. Sprinkler systems for the fires, fire alarms, and we also have security cameras and surveillance cameras throughout the whole venue to make sure nothing happens. And just in case something does happen, we have the proper tools to turn over to the proper authorities. Refer to management uh, or venue map for the tools and service locations. So for our next slide, we have insurance. Legal agreements that ensures the venue, staff, and most importantly, Tyler and Chantin, just in case anything happens throughout this event. So no one can come back with a lawsuit or anything like that. We really want to have people sign waivers. Not like waivers, like, you go in this event, something bad might happen, but sign some like form of liability to let you know that we don't have any liability, anything that happens. Hopefully nothing does happen. We want you to come in, enjoy yourself, and have an amazing time. But just in case something does, we're not liable for it. So that's always important to have in any venue that you go into. Entrances and exits, we have two. If you can look on our map, we have one closest stage, then we have one directly, near the back where people come in at. So that's very important to have, just in case like some chaos, something breaks out. You know where the quickest exit is. It's always very important before you go into any location. Know exactly where your entrances and your exits are so you can get out safely. Security equipment, like I said, we have surveillance cameras that will be recording Security will be level 2, which is concealed weapons, permits, flashlights, handcuffs, all that good stuff. Radio headsets for the staff and security team, like the little cool earpieces that the Secret Service wears and things to that nature. Speakers will be used throughout the entire venue in case of an emergency, and also to let you know the artist is on their way to the building, what song will be playing, things of that nature. So right there, that's our risk management PowerPoint. And for the last couple of parts of it, around 7 is basically when we talk about all the risks and things like that that could occur during the event. So obviously, like I said, we hired Ram Security. It's a hip hop event, so you really never know the type of things that could potentially happen. We hope everything will go nice and peacefully, but just in case things don't go in that way, we have Ram Security, who are armed security guards, like I said, from California, who are trained to deal with certain situations. So we laid out, in case of a fire, pull the fire alarm, get everyone out, make sure the artist is out safely, because obviously, if your artist gets injured in a fire, that pretty much looks bad on, me and Chanting as the promoters. We talked about what to do in case of severe weather, earthquakes, rain, flooding, in case of injury, things like that. When it came to our risk, we just wanted to make sure, the things that may occur could be like an argument, underage drinking, and problems with the artist's entourage. Occasional things that could show up could be like technical problems, drug/alcohol poisoning, or like rivals of the superstar may show up and try to hurt the event, try to crash the event. Sell them things. The food may not be right. Wrong people in the wrong. You may have certain people who are in VIP who are not supposed to be in VIP, and you may have unfortunately someone may try to sneak a weapon into the venue. Things are rare that we pray and we hope doesn't happen. Could be maybe the artist doesn't show up, someone may pass out, and unfortunately, let's say the artist doesn't show up, that could lead to a fight, a riot, or worst case scenario could lead to a shootout or things like that, which we hope doesn't happen at this venue. But like I said, it's a hip hop event. You really never know, which is why we took extra precautions when it came to the security.